I was able to save $30,000 last year using this simple technique. And so in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I did so that you can replicate it. So let's jump into it. Hey, what's up guys? My name's Ben Sund. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome for the first time. I don't just talk about saving money, I also talk about things like personal finance, investing, and real estate. So if you're interested in those things, please hit that big red subscribe button. All right, enough of my pitch, let's get into the video. So before I got really big into personal finance and investing, I was really bad with budgets, like really bad. I would basically just take all of the money that I had, spend it whenever I wanted on whatever I wanted, and then the rest, like car repairs and that, I would just put on a credit card. At the time, I didn't really have a lot of expenses. I didn't own a home, I didn't have a family or anything like that, and so I could just spend it on whatever I want. Most of it was going towards like craft beer and biking, so pretty cool, right? Well, obviously the problem with doing it that way is you can never calculate for the things that you don't know are coming, like car repairs, or later on if you want a down payment for a house or save for retirement, or you want to buy food, you don't have the money for it. And so after I decided that I needed to stop spending all my money on craft beer and biking, and I had larger financial goals like buying a home, saving for retirement and retiring early, and being able to quit my job or being able to move into a job that I really wanted to do, I started to look up how to do budgeting. Well, when you Google how to do a budget or the types of budgets that you can do, there are seven different types of budgets. Now, that alone is gonna make me wanna quit. It made me wanna quit, and it probably makes you wanna quit. So in this first section, I'm gonna go through the 7 different types and simplify them for you. This is important because it's gonna allow you to choose one that works with your lifestyle. Budgeting doesn't have to make you feel like you can't have fun with money, which is kind of what I initially thought. I figured it was gonna be really restrictive and that I wasn't gonna be able to do the things that I wanted to do. When in reality, once I actually learned the different types of budgets, I chose one that worked best for me, and I still get to do all the things that I wanna do, but I also get to do the things like save for retirement and buy a home. And so we're gonna get into those right now. As I said, I'm gonna go through all 7, but most of you are gonna fit into one of the major 3, which I'll specifically highlight those and let you know which one of those are. But again, this is gonna give you an overview on what one's gonna best fit your lifestyle. So the first type of budget and the first major type of budget is going to be the no budget budget. Yes, that's exactly what it sounds like. But instead of living like I was living before, where you just literally don't have a budget, it's putting your financial goals, like describing your financial goals and putting a good portion of your income towards those rather than anything else. The obvious thing here is that in order to do this type of budget, you either need to have a pretty high income or you need to be a natural saver. Or they're the type of person who goes out to dinner with friends, waits till they get up to go to the bathroom, and then you take half their meatballs off their spaghetti. Or you invite them out to a craft brewery, they don't want to spend their own money, and they don't want you to spend your money, so you end up splitting beers. Yes, that last one actually happened to me on a date one time. For some reason, it didn't work out. So the second type of budgeting is the spend first budget. Kind of sounds exactly like what it is. And it's you plan your spending first for the month and then you save any of the remainder. This usually works best if you already know that you're gonna have money left over. That way you can guarantee that you're gonna save money. If you don't know if you're gonna have money left over, like if you're on a variable income or a commission income, this is probably not going to be the best budget for you because it's gonna be too easy to prioritize spending. And then once you get to the end of the month or once you get to your point to savings, you're not gonna have the money there. So the third type of budget and the second major type of budget is going to be the savings first budget. This is one of the budgets that you hear about the most. It's the pay yourself first, live below your means. This is the budget that everyone talks about. It prioritizes savings even if it means sacrificing in other areas. This is the budget that I personally use, and it's the one that I feel most guarantees me my ability to meet my financial goals. This is the one that I'll use for our budget later on in the video, but basically it is you come up with a number that you want to save, a number that's going to help you meet your financial goals. You automate that so it's automatically taken out of your check or however you get paid. And then you prioritize everything else under that. So any other expenditures, any other savings, it gets prioritized under that. And again, we'll go over that in just a second so that you can see a detailed budget on what one of these looks like. And now the fourth type is called the anti-budget. It's similar to the savings first budget in that you allocate a certain portion of your savings or of your income towards savings each month. The difference is that on the savings first budget, you still have a budget where you're allocating the rest of your income. And so on the anti-budget, you don't have the other categories. You come up with how much you want to save, and then you just spend all the rest. It's not divvied up anywhere else. This type of budget would really be better for like a single person or a younger, like college student, someone that doesn't have a lot of expenses or a family or anything like that, because you could really find yourself lacking for money later on because you didn't appropriately save for unexpected expenses. Budgeting type number 5 is going to be the 50-30-20 budget, and that is 50% of your income goes towards your needs, 30% of your income goes towards your wants, and 20% of your income goes towards saving. This is going to be a good budget system if you have sort of a more variable lifestyle where it's harder to calculate some of your expenses and some of your income because it's all just done by percentages of those things. And so some months each category can kind of bleed and be variable rather than fixed. But for a lot of people, saving 20% of their income, especially when they're just starting out, can be really difficult. And in a lot of cases, depending on your financial goals, you might not actually need to save 20% of your income to still be able to meet your financial goals and live the life that you want to live. But obviously, saving 20% of your income is not a bad thing if you can afford to do it and it's not hurting you in other aspects of your life. Obviously, if you save 20% of your income, for most people, or really any person, depending on your age, that's almost certainly going to guarantee that you're a millionaire and probably a multi-millionaire if you save 20% of your income, especially if your income is projecting to go up over time. Now, the sixth budget type, and this is number 3 in our most common or major budget types, and this is the one that you hear a ton about. It's the one that Dave Ramsey teaches, and it's the zero-based budget. Zero-based just means that when you're doing a budget every month, you account for every single dollar that you have coming in. That's why Dave's app is called Every Dollar. And so you allocate every dollar of your budget or every dollar coming in to some category. Obviously, you get to choose what categories those are and how much goes into each category. You just have to make sure that every single dollar is accounted for. So you don't have anything for just like whatever spending. This is a very good way to budget and a great way to make sure that you're maximizing your income and that you have no money going to where it shouldn't be going, but it's meticulous. And so if you have the ability or have the discipline to stick to this type of budget, this would be a great one to use. But if you don't have that discipline, this could be terrible. It could give you the discipline, but it could be a terrible way and a terrible waste of your time to start doing this, because the best budget is the one that you're actually going to stick to. And one of the downsides to this is that it can be kind of complex and time consuming to set up, at least for the initial couple months, because you're going to have to dial in exactly where all of your money is going and then reallocate that to certain categories. And so it usually takes a month, maybe 2 or 3 months to get set up so that you know exactly what you're doing and exactly where you're spending your money. But once it is set up and once you are following it, it can provide some of the best results. And finally, before we get into our budget, the final type of budget is called our spending ceiling budget. The spending ceiling budget, I'm under the impression that it was created by Eat.Money. Basically, it's you come up with a number that you want to spend each month and you live by that number and you only track that number. My impression of this is that you choose a number and then you cap the amount of spending on wants, not on your needs. Some of those are going to be fixed costs, but based on your wants. So let's say that you want to cap it at like $400 a month. You don't spend anything above that on wanted items. And then all the rest of the money can just be distributed or to go to pay your bills or savings or whatever that you want to do with it. One of the advantages this way is that the other categories could change and flex each month, and you still get to spend on your wanted items. Next, and probably most importantly, we'll get into the budget. But first, I just wanted to say that no matter which one of these you choose, you're going to be able to meet your financial goals, because the main factor is choosing one that you'll do and that you'll actually stick to. Aside from maybe the no budget, I just can't wrap my head around living like that. All right, so I'm gonna show you a budget using the savings first budget. Again, this is the one that I personally use. In my opinion, it's one of the best budgets for most people because it prioritizes savings. That, in my experience, is where a lot of people lack. Usually a lot of people can spend money, but it's harder to save money. And with this budget types, it takes the friction and some of the guesswork out of savings because you can set it up automatically to do it for you. And you often feel like you actually have more money as a result, whereas in my earlier years, I thought that having a budget would make me feel like I had less money to do the things that I wanted to do. And when I started doing the saving first budget, I actually felt like I got a pay raise. And I was able to see my retirement and my savings accounts grow over time, which again further helps perpetuate that feeling like you're doing the right thing and that you're finally getting ahead. And keep in mind that even if you don't want to do the savings first budget, this budget is going to be a good example for you to know what categories to plug into your own budget or what categories to account for, because it's easy to miss one and then have it later creep up and you not have the money for it. So let's say we make the national median income of about 70,000. It's actually 67,521, roundabout there. And I'm not gonna factor in taxes on our 70,000. Yeah, I know there's not really a way to get around them, but for budgeting purposes or for this budget, it's gonna be greatly depending on your situation and where you live, because the taxes can vary greatly depending on that. So I'm just gonna go 60,000 or 70,000 even. So $70,000 or $5,833.33 per month is the top figure that we wanna use for all the rest of our budget. The first portion in our savings first is going to be savings. For this, I used 15%. 15% is a good number to shoot for over time. Depending on your age and your situation, you might want to do a little more or you might want to do a little less, but 15% is a good variable over time. If you can't do 15% or you come up with a different number, if your company has a 401k, at least try to get the match, because you're instantly guaranteeing yourself like the 50% or 100% that the match provides. But if you can only do 1, 2, or 3% right now with the goal of eventually getting to 10 or 15%, that's gonna help you start down the road. And again, the main key is to start and have it come out of your check automatically each month so that you're not tempted to reallocate it or spend it on something else. So for this example, and our 15% savings, it's gonna be about $875 a month. Which, by the way, if you're investing in your retirement accounts or like a 401k or IRAs or mutual funds, that should equate from the age of 30 to 65 to about $3.8 million. And for the rest of our budget, we break it down into specific categories. So the first things that you want to do is make sure that you have what are called the 4 walls covered. And that's going to be housing, transportation, utilities, and then food and water. And so once you have the 4 walls covered, you jump into things like medical expenses and medical insurance, personal spending, and then miscellaneous or unexpected. Now, unless you have an emergency fund already in place, I would make sure that at least some percent goes into miscellaneous / unexpected each month into a separate high yield savings account, and it goes right out of your check. Each one of these categories you could have go out of your check every month. That's usually what I would recommend doing. That's what I personally do. That way my check gets broken down automatically. I don't have to touch it. But if you have the unexpected or miscellaneous go separately into a high yield savings account every month, one, again, it's separate from all the rest of your money, and it helps you build up that emergency fund for when you need it later on. So let's jump into what these categories look like in an actual month-to-month budget. So first, our 4 walls, that's gonna be our rent and housing. I did 25% of our monthly income, which would be about $14.58 a month. The next would be food and water. I did 10% or $583.33. The next one's gonna be transportation, which I did $583.83. And then our utilities are about 5%. I did that at $292. And then our insurance and medical meaning like any co-pays or dentist visits, stuff like that, I did at 10%, so again, $583.33 per month. And then the next is going to be our personal spending. This is going to be everything outside of these categories that you want to spend on. I did that at 15% of our income, so $875 per month. And then our miscellaneous, unexpected. Again, this category is a little bit weird because it's unexpected. You don't know what you're going to spend on. I did it at 20% to round out to 100% of our income. That's going to be 1166.66. This is one that once you start getting money saved up, because you're not going to be spending this every single month. You're not going to have an unexpected thing every single month. If you do, you want to start building that into your budget. But once you start getting enough into that account, you can back this down or reallocate this to wherever you want. Because $1,100 on this type of income is quite a bit for miscellaneous or unexpected expenses, especially since we already have personal spending built in. This is the exact method and exact budget that I used last year, along with automating it to come out of my check each month and be redistributed into certain savings accounts to save over $30,000 last year. Obviously, your numbers and your results are going to vary, but this is going to be a great way for you to get started and for you to take control of your income and feel like you got a pay raise. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please hit that big red subscribe button and comment down below. Are you new to budgeting or are you struggling with getting your budget together? Again, comment down below. Let me know what's going on. Let me know if there's any other questions I can answer. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one.